The air in the medical bay hummed softly, a quiet symphony of lights, machines, and unseen alien energy. Tubes glimmered in colors that no human eye could have imagined, and walls pulsed faintly with life, as though the station itself was breathing. The alien doctors moved with grace and precision, their elongated limbs gliding over the floor without a sound. They had seen many species, many bodies, but nothing like the human lying on the central platform. Alex, or Al as he preferred to be called, blinked slowly up at the bright lights. He had a crooked grin plastered across his dirt-smeared face. Broken bones ached in every limb, and his torso felt like a collection of snapped sticks bundled together. But surprisingly, he was calm, almost casual. The alien doctors had their scanners trained on him. Their glowing eyes widened in unison as the machines beeped out their analysis. 17 broken bones. Every limb had suffered fractures and his ribs were splintered. Even his jaw was cracked, barely holding together. One of the doctors, tall and translucent, leaned closer to the scanner's projection. The numbers, the images, the tiny colored lines that mapped every fracture, they were impossible. How could this creature still breathe? How could it still move its fingers, twitch its toes, and speak? The lead doctor's voice, a low hum that reverberated in the bay, broke the silence. 17 fractures. Multiple organ impacts. Neural trauma detected. Alex lifted a hand slowly, wincing but not too much. "Oh," he said. His voice was quiet, almost playful. "That's Al." The aliens froze. "That's Al," the doctor repeated, tone uncertain. The other doctors whispered among themselves in their soft, musical language. Their concern was rising, but so was curiosity. Humans, apparently, did not respond to extreme trauma the way other species did. Alex tilted his head. "Yeah, that's me, Al." He gave a small shrug, careful not to move too sharply. "I fall down sometimes. Break a bone. Or 17. No big deal." The aliens exchanged looks that were almost panic. "No big deal?" one asked. The sound was alien and harsh to human ears, but the meaning was clear. How could a being survive 17 broken bones and call it no big deal? Alex tried to smile, though the effort made a sharp pain flare through his ribs. "Look," he said, wincing slightly, "I've had worse. Trust me, you'll see." The doctors stepped back. Their scanners continued to hum, mapping his bones and vital systems. Every data point screamed at them that this human should be unconscious, maybe even dead. But here he was. Alert, talking, joking even. One of the younger doctors, a small one with violet skin and 6 eyes, touched the control panel. "It is unusual. Most species with this level of injury do not survive," it said. Its voice shook slightly. "I know," Alex said casually. "Most people I know don't survive this either. That's why I'm usually alone when it happens." He let out a short, dry laugh. "Lucky me you guys showed up." The aliens paused. You are conscious? Fully aware?" the lead doctor asked. Its long fingers hovered over the scanning console, hesitant to touch. Alex lifted a hand again, careful not to strain himself. "Yep, alert and not dead yet." He smiled again, even though it hurt. "I've got a lot of practice." The doctors were now completely fascinated. They had studied species that could survive an extreme cold, creatures that could regenerate limbs, and beings that could endure radiation that would melt metal. None had this kind of resilience. And the way Alex spoke about his injuries with humor and calm, completely alien to them. How is this possible?" the violet-eyed doctor whispered to the lead. "He is fractured, damaged, yet no critical collapse, no panic response, and he jokes." The lead doctor shook its head slowly, almost as if it were trying to deny what it was seeing. "It defies our understanding of physiology. Perhaps in the human has unusual regenerative capacity, or extreme tolerance to pain." Alex, overhearing some of this through the translator implant that made the alien language comprehensible to him, chuckled quietly. "You think it's just luck or magic?" "Nah, it's called being stubborn." "Stubborn?" the doctor repeated, almost incredulous. "A mental trait. Aids survival?" "Please explain." Alex stretched one arm carefully, feeling every crack and ache as the movement pulled at his muscles. "Yeah, stubborn. Humans push through pain. We get hurt, we get up. We keep moving. Sometimes we even laugh while doing it. Keeps the brain happy. Keeps the body working." The aliens looked at each other, unsure if they were impressed or alarmed. But slowly a new thought began to form. Maybe humans weren't just fragile creatures. Maybe humans were Something else entirely. The younger doctor's multiple eyes blinked rapidly. You endure 17 fractures, without panic, without death. And you laugh? Alex grinned, though his jaw hurt. Yeah, but welcome to the club. The lead doctor approached the scanning table more closely. Its face, or what passed for a face, was unreadable. And yet, you speak of previous injuries? Survival in extreme conditions? Please elaborate, Alex nodded, careful with the movement. Sure. There was this time on some icy moon, he began. Fell 20 meters into a frozen crater. Broke 3 ribs, ankle, and my arm. Didn't stop me from finishing the climb out. Got a nice scar, too. He tapped his chest lightly. Reminder that pain isn't the end of the world. The alien doctors recorded everything. Every story, every movement, every smile, despite agony. They were learning, and more importantly, they were amazed. Why? Why do you not collapse? The violet-eyed doctor asked. Alex shrugged. Brains work faster than fear. Heart works faster than pain. And sometimes, he paused, looking at the aliens carefully. Sometimes you just don't care if things are broken. You focus on what matters, getting up, surviving, moving forward. There was silence. Not the quiet of a room without sound, but the tense, thoughtful silence of beings who had just realized that maybe their entire understanding of life had a gap, one that humans filled. The lead doctor finally spoke, its tone softer. Humans, you are extraordinary, perhaps. The body is not as fragile as we assumed. Perhaps your species thrives under conditions that we consider fatal. Alex's grin widened, though it was painful. You might say that. We call it stubbornness, and sometimes luck, mostly stubbornness. One of the medical assistants, tentacle-like limbs with fine, precise fingers, began carefully stabilizing Alex's arm. The human barely reacted to the delicate pressure. He winced, yes, but did not shout, did not scream, did not collapse. The aliens watched in awe. You endure, and yet you smile, the lead doctor said finally. We must study further. Document everything. Such resilience. Alex chuckled softly, shaking his head. Study all you want. I'm just Al. Just a guy who gets up no matter what. The alien doctors shared a quiet communication among themselves. Their systems, their science, their advanced knowledge, none of it had prepared them for this. A species that could break 17 bones and still joke about it. It was unlike anything in the galaxy. As the scanning continued, Alex leaned back slightly, still alert, still talking. So what's next? You fixing me? Or just staring? The lead doctor's multiple appendages moved almost nervously. We will repair. But your body, it teaches us about limits, endurance, and perhaps courage. Alex smiled even as his ribs protested. Courage? Not just getting up. Call it courage if it makes you feel better. The machines hummed, the lights flickered softly, and the aliens worked with careful precision. But their thoughts kept returning to the same truth. Humans were something different, something unpredictable, something remarkable, something worth learning from. And Alex, oblivious to the profound impression he was leaving, simply said once more with his usual casual tone, That's Al. The chamber was alive with color. Floating lights shimmered like tiny stars, and glowing symbols moved along the walls as if breathing. Jaren Talvik stood at the center, surrounded by the Lurithians, their tall, shimmering forms bending gracefully in silent anticipation. Despite their beauty, there was a sense of seriousness in the room that made Jaren's skin prickle. This was no simple greeting. It was a test, a ceremony, and a misunderstanding all at once. Jaren glanced at Mara, who had been cautiously allowed to observe from a corner. Remember, he whispered, do not panic. Humans survive by understanding, not by fighting blindly. Watch, learn, and adapt. Mara nodded, gripping her tablet like a lifeline. I'm trying, Captain. But I've never seen anything like this. The Lurithian leader, Seelith, floated a few steps closer. Its glowing hands pointed toward a series of floating spheres. Each orb radiated faint energy, and alien inscriptions circled around them. You will prove your worth, chosen one, Seelith said, its voice like a chorus. The first trial is the trial of balance. You must move through the orbs of light without disturbing their energy. Jaren raised an eyebrow. Orbs of light? Okay, so we're doing a kind of obstacle course? Seelith's golden eyes pulsed. It did not laugh, but there was something like approval in the rhythm of its glow. It is not a game. Each orb reacts to disruption. Failure is dishonor. Success is unity. Jaren looked at the floating spheres. They glimmered gently, and from what he could tell, any contact caused a ripple of energy that made the room vibrate softly. He had no idea how they worked, but humans were nothing if not resourceful. All right, Jaren muttered. Step 1. Observe. Step 2. Adapt. He carefully watched the energy patterns. Each orb had a rhythm, expanding and contracting slightly like breathing. If he moved with the rhythm, he reasoned, he could navigate the spheres without triggering any alerts. He took a deep breath, then stepped forward. One careful foot, then the other. His movements were slow, deliberate, measured. The first orb pulsed, then dimmed as if acknowledging his success. Encouraged, Jaren advanced. The second orb reacted more quickly. It vibrated slightly against his boots, sending a small shock of energy through the floor. Jaren stumbled, then regained his balance. Okay, they're testing reflexes too, he whispered. By the fifth orb, Mara leaned forward, eyes wide. Captain, you're doing it. I didn't think it was possible. Jaren gave a small grin. Humans adapt. That's how we survive. Finally, he reached the last orb. He paused, studying the movement carefully, then stepped through. The orb's light glowed brighter for a moment, and a soft harmonic tone filled the room. Selith's eyes pulsed in approval. You honor us, Chosen One, Selith said. You have completed the trial of balance. Jaren exhaled, relief washing over him. Balance trial done. One down, hopefully not too many to go. The next series of trials began immediately. This one was called the Trial of Knowledge. Floating screens appeared filled with alien symbols, diagrams, and strange flowing scripts. Jaren realized quickly that they were testing pattern recognition and problem solving. The first screen displayed a series of glowing geometric shapes. A question or something like it floated above them in the alien language. Jaren had no idea what it meant, but humans had a knack for logic and deduction. All right, he muttered, studying the patterns. These shapes, they're connected. It's like sequences. If the pattern continues, then the next shape should be. He traced the shapes with his finger, moving them carefully according to the logic he perceived. The shapes responded, shifting and glowing brighter. Mara beside him whispered, Captain, that's incredible. You're actually figuring it out. Jaren smiled faintly. Humans think differently. We see possibilities where others see rules. That's why we survive. After several more screens, each more complex than the last, the symbols finally settled into a calm, steady glow. The trial of knowledge was complete. Selith's light pulsed faster this time, a sign of approval. You honor us again, Selith intoned. Your intelligence is remarkable. Jaren allowed himself a small smirk. Humans always find a way. Then came the third trial, the trial of courage. A portal opened, revealing a strange alien landscape. Towering cliffs of translucent crystal rose into the sky. Rivers of glowing liquid flowed through jagged valleys, and moving across the landscape were large, shadowy creatures, their forms shifting and flickering with light. They want me to go there? Jaren asked, eyes narrowing. Through that alien nightmare land? Selith's voice echoed. Only the brave complete the trial of courage. Step forward, Chosen One. Jaren squared his shoulders. All right. Humans are brave. Let's do this. He stepped through the portal and the alien landscape surrounded him. The air was heavy but breathable, filled with faint hums that seemed to come from the crystals themselves. The shadowy creatures moved with elegant fluidity, observing him but not attacking. Jaren carefully navigated the terrain, stepping lightly over glowing rivers and dodging the creatures' shifting forms. Each step was measured, each movement deliberate. He remembered a crucial human skill, patience and observation. After a tense journey, he reached the other side. The portal shimmered again, and he returned to the ceremonial chamber, tired but victorious. Selith's golden eyes glowed brightly. You are brave, Selith said. Your courage honors the unity of our people. Jaren wiped sweat from his brow and whispered to Mara, Humans always survive, because we keep moving forward no matter how strange the world is. The final trial was the most unusual of all. The trial of diplomacy. Jaren was seated across from holographic projections of several Lurithian council members. Their expressions were inscrutable. The task was simple in theory but complex in execution. He had to communicate, persuade, and find common ground, even without fully understanding their language. He listened to the rhythmic pulses of their voices, the glow of their skin, and the subtle movements of their forms, Slowly, he began to mimic, respond, and interact. He used gestures, expressions, and simple logic. The aliens reacted, shifted, and adjusted their own signals. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. Yaren had lost track. Then Seelith's golden eyes pulsed in a steady, approving rhythm. "You succeed," Seelith said. "Your diplomacy is remarkable." Jaren allowed himself a grin. "That's humans for you. We talk, we listen, we survive," Mara clapped softly. "Captain, they're impressed. You've actually done it. Completed all the trials." Jaren nodded. "Yes, and in doing so, we've shown something important. Humans are clever. Humans adapt. And humans never give up, no matter how strange or impossible the situation." Selith approached him, its glowing hands extended in a gesture of respect. "You honor us. Though your ways are strange, your spirit is strong. You are worthy." Jaren's chest swelled with pride. He realized something profound. Even across galaxies with species that were completely alien, human qualities, courage, intelligence, adaptability, stood out. They were not only surviving in space, they were shaping the galaxy by simply being human. And yet a small part of him worried. The Lorethians' admiration was tied to a misunderstanding. They still believed this was a sacred mating ritual. And while the humans had proven themselves, the cultural misunderstanding could spark future confusion. Jaren looked at Mara. "We've survived the trials, but we need to find a way to explain our misstep without offending them." Mara nodded. "Do you think they'll understand?" Jaren's eyes sparkled with determination. "Humans have a way of being understood. We just have to be clever and careful." For the first time, the chamber felt less intimidating. It had become a place of opportunity, a chance to show the galaxy that humans were not just survivors. They were leaders, thinkers, and problem solvers. Outside, the green planet of ZY-412 rotated slowly under a sky of distant stars. The humans on the ship had been misinterpreted, challenged, and tested, but they had succeeded. And in doing so, they had begun a story that would echo across alien civilizations. A story of human courage, wit, and adaptability, even in the most extraordinary circumstances. Jaren took a deep breath and whispered to himself, "All right, let's see how far we can take this." And with that, the humans prepared for the next step, bridging the gap between misunderstanding and alliance, proving that even in a galaxy full of mysteries, humans could thrive, adapt, and inspire.